Let me repeat this song again quickly. Famule Muna, welcome. One more time, let's hear this song. Right, ladies and gentlemen, bring warm greetings to Una from the TNN TV media empire. Today, now the 30th, the very last day of September 2022, and me where they talk to Una, me name Prince Emil Chroma, and I want once again bring very warm greetings to Una. To those 3,000 plus or more subscribers on YouTube, I want to say many thanks to Una, but as the human taste or feeling or want is insatiable, I still continue for ask Una Dua. Una let me continue for spread this good news, this gospel to with many fans and those who haven't heard about us as yet through Una initiative so that they can hear it and also take the onus and the objective for make sure say other people are tuning to the hub of the information, which is the TNN TV media empire. So shape that YouTube platform channel, ladies and gentlemen, and let other people sign on or subscribe to the platform. So we many thousands and thousands of fans and supporters and frenemies, the antagonists them on Facebook page as well. We want to say massive greetings to every one of you. We want to continue to spread this good news on this platform. We want to embrace everybody, especially those who have extended an olive branch, those who have got an open embrace for us to embrace as well. We want to say thank you so much for participating and for take part in this particular program. Every day, the platform they increase at a slow but sure pace because every day, and this is evidently clear because I'm making it public, and you can check the stats that dozens and dozens of people are on a daily basis signing on, either liking the page or following the page. So we are growing, and the way how they grow incrementally, slow but sure, is very much appreciated. We expect the numbers for grow and become wild, but we know say it has to be organic. We're not spending a penny for buy other people over for kind of support we or for make the numbers then grow as other people will do. Everything that we've done here, that's why the pace is so slow. From day one has been organic. We make we statement them or pull we statement them out there. We broadcast. If we are appealing to people, people find them very interesting. They do come on and join. And such is the initiative that we've been embarked on. Today, we want to talk on very important program going forward in our country. But when I go forgive me for digress a little bit, which I will do shortly. But once again, can I remind all that this now the TNN TV media empire, the hub of the conversation, where we talk news that make the news, where people that are germane to the conversation or the conversation that is germane to what we try to talk about is said on this very platform. And people that are prominent in the society who embark on things them waking, initiate or shape the landscape policy-wise have got a presence. And they talk about Chernobyl and Mr. Warise. They are here. And they've got a regular stake on this platform. Once more, don't touch that dial as we come to a very important take on both the happenings now, the then, and going forward. TNN Media Empire, your friendly news outlet. Yes, once more, welcome to the news media outlet. This is now the TNN. We ask Fambulen for help with for share. Okay. It is not strange that we ask Fambulen for share. Okay, big platform then they do from them they do it because you have to appeal to the people out there because we are many. The challenges are many, and for ask people and for share, there's nothing really wrong with that. And furthermore, I can't do this simultaneous. Sometimes I do, but when you really want laser focus on issue, it's just hard for you to continue for share. So they ask other people and for share, especially with many throngs of fans, with thousands of fans. I will give way a little bit, yes, I want to take a little bit of picture, or waiting and blast on at the back, you're like you 30 seconds, 45 seconds for absorb that. Let me have some water. Okay. I think you will have seen this picture enough now, and some of you may know him, some of you may not. For those of you who don't know him, we'll talk about him, yeah, just a little bit. And it's nothing personal, by the way. It's just in line with duty. Nothing personal, and I mean nothing personal. You see, in the pursuit of a change in politics for a better Sierra Leone, we get to hold each other accountable. We have to have a conversation, regardless of how contentious that conversation will be. We have to have disagreements before we can have the agreement. And sometimes we don't even have to agree. You can hold on to what you want to hold on to, even though I don't buy into that, because the idea here is I can come to the table with a conversation or with a frame of mind. But that frame of mind is not sacrosanct. It's not embedded in gold or whatever you want for column. In other words, I've come for a conversation which potentially could change. The position could change based on waiting the other side to say. Because in a conversation, we have to listen. If you cannot listen, then you can't have a conversation. But you listen, and probably the other side is convincing enough, make points, references, which are convincing enough, and you can change your point of view. But the bottom line is, a conversation has to be had, especially so right now in our country where the division around the body politic is so critical, is so potent, is so atomic, is so nuclear. So they use all these terminologies then for show how toxic the situation is, that we need for have a conversation. And even if we disagree, that disagreement need for end up on a certain kind of a level, not level that it go descend to. We're not even warranted or necessary, except you aim somebody or they set for somebody. But even the language spoken, it becomes a little bit too difficult, for kind of absorb. Mamikos not a change policy. We've said this. It doesn't. If it did, for 4 years, Manabio will have changed. Fatima Bio will have changed. Instead, what this has done is for make them for double down. For double down. Mamikos is not a currency for change. There is no history. There is no evidence that this has made meaningful change in a society. In other words, what has contributed to meaningful change in a society? Now, dialogue, a political space created in which the opinion of others are respected. And then we can have these diverse opinions. That's how people form policies going forward, because you're talking about a nation made up of people with diverse interests, diverse cultural, historical background, and you name it. How do you form something for coerce around all of these kind of people then, so that they will derive a meaningful benefit? Is for take on board the conversation on disagreement and see how you can intertwine that with the agreement, for let everybody agree on something where will be of some benefit. But some people have decided to take it to another level when they don't agree with you. Such is the man behind, my back, who has made himself a name for himself on social media, doing nothing but insults, honestly. And some of you watching this program here who are on various social media platforms will have noticed this, because he's been expelled from various platforms for acts unbecoming. You disagree, and then you descend into some level of course which is unacceptable by the standard of a society. And you cannot say that you're a decent human being, and then if una yeri what you say, and this is just one, and there are others, and then tip, then they go follow, and when you they make babatina media, instead of you speak, if you say you clued on, instead of you speak to issues, instead you dey decide for BMMM, be you dey decide for use expletives, you dey decide for spit vitriol of some kind, which you dey try for prove to a point that you beat others them wey even be known to do this, that this now your capacity, this not anything else, even though on the side you want boast of something else. It doesn't work that way. Neither does it kind of work with me. This is disgraceful, this is distasteful, this is unacceptable. I cannot play the video of this gentleman, but I will say that in the early hours of tomorrow, I will share this video so una can make una decision for una self. And this is not the only video. There will be others that will follow. And the others that will follow, I promise una, they are more distasteful than this one. And waiting on the happen, ladies and gentlemen, is the worst case scenario is the reason why he's doing it because of the leader of the opposition in parliament. That's what he's doing it for. If I'm critical of a public figure, I think I'm entitled to that as a citizen, and by virtue of my work way I do. I haven't directed any vitriol, any expletive, any curse, other than try for analyze and evaluate the performance of individuals then when they in a public position. And if you don't like that, you can come with a counter argument other than descend into what you descend to, in which you make them really personal. But this is not on me actually. You just put yourself now a platform usai you will have now to be judged. And the fact is, I understand you get political intention. And normally, if you get political intention and you are caught up in this kind of web, where people will not be realized for a long time, because when you do it, nobody sees the face behind the voice. So now for once, we out the face behind the voice, talking about lies, accusing me of being. It's really distasteful for me for even, you kind of mention, because those who know me know that this is not my character, and you get people and we can attest to this. But I am not on judgment today. It is him that is on judgment, and he's going to be on judgment for quite a while, because what we go do, we go put the evidence out there and let people and make the decision for themselves. And not only that people and we will really associate themselves with him, they will have to make the decision on whether they really want to associate themselves with somebody who I believe has become toxic. They say, show me who your friends are, and I will tell you who you are. Ladies and gentlemen, the information war, it clearly they on. Fact-based and propaganda-based politics, then they at war with each other. Fact-based and propaganda-based politics are at war with each other. I am convinced, okay, or the objective truth that we remain is that only one of these two, one of the two, fact-based and propaganda-based, and only one get for survive. And you get for make the decision yourself on waiting you think they get for survive. As for me, I've made up my mind. I know very well waiting get for survive. But like I say, we put the information out there, you process them, and then you have to make the decision yourself. But if I can give you a hint that good will always conquer evil, then you know exactly what the answer should be. Character and ad hominem, which are really despising, because I want for people that know me, I've been having conversation of this level for more than 10, 15 years, public level. Everybody know me, family, friends, they know me. That's what I want to have. Good conversation, disagree for agree. Sometimes it get heated, really passionate, but never has a conversation of any kind that I have had descend, to finger pointing and mommy cussing. No, this is something that I don't even encourage. I don't even go that far. The reason why I went this far is because we happen to find ourselves now a particular platform where I thought, we were here for a common cause. But it turned out for me that this is not the case. That is personal. The vitriol directed against me is so visceral that there has to be something else being done. I know they tolerate, ad hominem, directed at me. I go just left shuffle or throw one answer, make my point known, but I go always leave. Sometimes it is not waiting and direct at you that really matters. It's how you handle waiting and really direct at you. And this is the case, how you they handle things, that maturity, the way you they exhibit. And because of course, it does hurt. In this case, it doesn't really hurt me per se. Doesn't really hurt me per se, okay, because it's on you. That's what it is, and it's not new, because the cost is out there. And I make us say the information war. It clearly they on, and fact based and propaganda based is at war with each other. But I strongly believe, and I know many more people, the vast majority of people, do believe that only one of them get for survive, and that one day we get for survive. Like I say, you make the decision, but based on knowing this maxim that good will always conquer evil. You see, sometimes, Famulem, misleading information is becoming the order of the day. In fact, this is what some people want to turn into. Misleading information is becoming the order of the day. Unadulterated lies with only one intent, which is to smear and for divert attention from the main conversation. Because in terms of curse, this is the only bearing that it has. Let's be honest about this. It doesn't change policy. We know this. We can attest to this. The evidence is there. We've had many years of this. So it clearly looked like the 1980s. It's an intimidatory weapon that they use. You get soft power, you get hard power. So they use this as an intimidatory weapon for you for back off, for see whether you go back off. Well, this doesn't back me off. Like I can always say, I've got my big boy pants when I came into this business. So there are many things that I've put on a thick skin over that I can absorb. My armor is thick. I don't know whether it's penetrable. It probably is, because every armor there's a counter ammunition or ammo which then will find for defeat as such. But for some while, it can be the potent defense where it can take a while for people and for find something for penetrate that armor. So for now, I wear that armor day and very, very resistant. So it's not like I'm upset by it. It's like outing people who tend for one day within a decent and civilized society. Listen, waiting to come on at the mouth, and you make up your decision for yourself. So this particular man will go by the name of Political Barry. Of course, I give him prominence now, but for a negative reason, make him unpopular. That's what happened. Not being popular because on 10 day, I remember my late daddy, way they make you happy, like say you tough, bad man, you're doing all the wrong things. But as a young fellow, you don't realize that and you feel say you're bad, you're tough. The old man may tell, look at this idiot. They make like say, like there was a particular word that he used to use, but it was quite the opposite. That's what he meant. That you think, say, you are interesting or you're popular. You are very unpopular. And that's what it is in a negative way. And this is what it is. You get people that mommy cause not to think way you can monopolize. A day at the behest of everybody. Anybody will want for use them. But people then choose not to, because if you get a name for defend, if you get a character for defend, if you value yourself, say not to that way there you go. So yes, some people then can cheer you on at the background, but you don't ever see them come at the foreground because they know it's distasteful. You cannot play in your family home for your family for listen, for you picking them for listen, which means that it's not tolerable. It's indecent. So why would you indulge into that? Why would you? So Famulem, this is what this guy is being involved in. And he done the do in behalf of the opposition leader in a parliament, simply because I'm being critical of him. And critical in a critical way. I critique the man. And if you want to listen to the critique, it does make a lot of sense, but you can counter him if you get another opinion. But he gets upset along with few others, and they know why. But that does not stop us from doing what we're supposed to do, because in the end, we will be vindicated as we are feeling vindicated as at now. It's still a long way for go. There's still more work to be done. But what we are doing is not personal. It's not selfish like some of them they do. We they do in the cause of nation. Fambulema they ask una please share this broadcast. Very important. This is not just side bite. I just want to deal with them in passing once and then move on, to the most important thing. But it's important that we spell this out. It's important that we spell this out. Because I therefore critique a man where it is support. He fervently support the man. And I'm not saying that the man endorses his position. No, I am not implying, insinuating any of that kind of thing. Because some people they can go out and do things for their own, and some can be so overzealous. They do them for impress the other side. Probably the other side not even impress, because not a good name you they bring to that particular person there. Or that person they may not like for it to come into the main light for say, na me you they do them for. No, nobody go on for align themselves with you. It's like I understand that you get a team now you have to team up with for become a secretary general of the mighty All People's Congress. How can a man like you that spew such venom, such vitriol, such expletive from out of you want for hold a position of public leadership? Is there no other way that you can express yourself? So this is on you, and the people will have to make a decision when we release the tape in the early hours of tomorrow morning. So it's me for say, I don't get called from some strange people and people who are known as well. I don't know how they manage for Yeri. Of course, it won't be strange because this particular conversation they within a particular circle, and for some reason it will have strayed out. And they get calls from some people whom I very much respect so much. Yeah, they say, let it go. let it go. Yeah, in the interest of unity and whatever, let it go. Okay. So this is where we are. This is where we are. But you should not be subjected to such venom simply because you are a critique. And most especially, if you're not street now, if you're not gutter man, then obviously such will be expected of you. But if you are not, then the other, which is an academia based, a collegial based kind of conversation around things that we agree and disagree on, will be expected. That makes the merrier, the better. And when they talk about fine politics, changing from the old into the new, but some people still tend for embrace the old, hence the kind of things that way they come out in their mouth. All this guy has demonstrated so far is how empty he is, how limited he is. He may argue the contrary, and I think we get such conversation earlier on today. Of course, you will not own up because you don't see it. That is indicative itself of the emptiness because of the kind of language that you choose. Exactly. Because you can decide, you say, I will choose a different language for conduct myself. But you want to use the tool of fear, where so much unacceptable in mainstream circle, and they hide behind the keyboard, they hide behind a microphone. Now you are being outed and brought to the public proper. There's nothing that you can say about me, because except you lies. Except the lies. And all of them will be countered. That's all I will say. So you can continue with your mamikos. We will continue for record them, and we will continue for put them out there. And Fambulema promise una, when we release the tape, when we hear I mean, it's so shocking to those who know prone to the canteen there. It is really shocking and directed at a person who will not repeat the same. I wouldn't. And I promise you, say the one to follow is even worse, really even worse. Okay, but so far, let me get to serious matters. And for this part of it, Fambulem, I go say that is an entire segment. So I need to move on to serious matters, but let me take a briefer. Let me take a briefer. And once more, if you not see the picture, that's the picture of him right there. That's the picture of him right there. So this is the TNN TV media empire, where we talk about issues that make the news. And we're not going to hesitate for put this out. And we know they go and play nasty, but the nasty way they go and play, they dig themselves deep into the murk we then live in. Don't touch that dial because there's more serious stuff coming. So, like I say once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the TNN TV Media Empire. Today, now the 30th, the last day of September 2022. And this now Prince Emil Krumah, una anchor and host. Let me get to some serious matters. Before I do, I just get me coffee mug. This now we all logo then and now TNN Media Empire. And when we they talk, like I say, we know they talk on issues personal. We they talk about nation building, nation cohesion, nation security. Now I make today me mogwa they drink and I can see the logo. One nation, one people. One nation, one people. But watch what's coming next. Anyway, Fambulem, on a more serious note, trust and confidence in our institution, such as the police, the judiciary, ECSL, previously NEC, where now the body responsible for election, PPRC, another serious institution of ours. The trust and confidence we been in the institution and they don't begin for erode some time ago. In fact, quite a long time ago. We can equally say at this time, with the evidence available, it's even worse, ladies and gentlemen. The history, many. We can go back beyond 2018. And probably part of this broadcast, we go talk anecdotally about evidence and pointing to beyond 2018. But the focus here now is 2018 and where we are today. Not because of selfish reason, not because of particular reason trying to help another, but because we're at a critical juncture at with body politics now, the shape of the country that is taking place. So it will be a complete waste of time for dwell wholesale, holistically on how you call them on the past, okay, beyond 2018. So now make us say we probably go talk on a few things about 2018 because it's necessary for some citations and some references as per 2018. But we want to talk about more. We really, really want to talk about more. I they expect a brother and a friend for make a brief contribution towards the program tonight. I'd expect a brother and a friend for make a brief 5-10 minutes appearance on the program tonight. We will see whether it does accept the invitation and decide for come. The brother is great. He spews nothing but reality. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue to share. Like I talk about the institution with critical institutions of state for quite a long time. Trust and confidence in them has been eroding and it's only getting worse. Now, I say I don't want to go beyond 2018, so I want to begin with 2018. And one of the most significant period at the beginning of 2018, which is the beginning of Madabio with current president, His Excellency Julius Madabio in term, is the expulsion of 10 opposition parliamentarians who were kicked out of parliament, but legitimized. The whole process was legitimized through a judiciary process. This is important for let we understand. Very important. I know some parallels at some point and try for draw between something what I believe been happened back in 2012. I hope I get that time they correct again. Stand to be corrected. That was during the candidacy for members of parliament, Mr. Ansu Lansana and a retired captain. Yes, Afiju Kanja. Okay. The court at the time ordered their positions to be given to the runner-up, which of course benefited the APC who was in power then. So you see, Nabeka say I will point to some anecdotal evidence or time span beyond 2018 when it's absolutely necessary so that we don't get distracted from the main body talk of this particular conversation. So because of that, when 10 opposition parliamentarians, all People's Congress parliamentarians were kicked out of parliament, people then try to draw a parallel with what may happen then. But suffice me for say, from what me don't read, see, and understand, there were no parallels. These were two different things that happened. But of course, the situation were exploited by people them where it play clearly to their advantage. And as usual, information saturation, we will talk about briefly, take place, where it can take place all of the time, where something serious happen before you know, deliberately, either side of the political aisle can flood the sites with information, what we call information saturation. Too much information and you get for sift through them. Do you have the time and other things that happen? Yes, sometimes we do find the time regarding how important the issue is. And this is not just one of them. Okay. So the court ordered that these positions of them people there, where na Ansu Lansana and retired Captain Afiju Kanja, must be given to the runner-up. And that benefited the APC. 10 parliamentarians of the APC equally got kicked out from parliament after 2018 election. They were waiting to be sworn in, and waiting happened. They not agree for allow them for be sworn in or take the seat. They were expelled, and waiting happened now. They replace them with the runner-up. We happen for be SLPP people. We not in dinner power this time, so people are trying for draw that parallel. Say instead of looking at the law, the interpretation of the law, what does it say? Because the law is there, and that law there we go try for quote and see how much of it, because this is the necessity for let people them they do their assignments, then due diligence. But because some people know say we don't do this, so they're not can bother the politicians, then they can just take advantage of the situation, just force down with throat by force, waiting for accept. So although the arguments were made, they were replaced by the runner-up. There was a clear violation of the Public Elections Act law in this particular case. And that Public Elections Act law, what they talk about, or Public Elections Act, then 146 subsection 4. Subsection 4. It clearly says that when an elections, it clearly states that when an elections is held, okay, and then it's declared null and void at some point, then a rerun should be held. That's what the act says. And this is not the law where they govern we, by the way, Fambulem. This is not the law where they govern we. But what happened in this case? That law was not respected. The spirit of that law was not carried out. A clear violation of the laws, a clear disregard for the franchise, the rights, the responsibilities, the objectives, the feelings of the people, casted away by few selfish people for their own interests, called politricians. Politricians. Not forget, say today, the title of this particular program asks, are the people ready for change? Are the people ready for change? That's the question. And waiting with the say Naya today, he go answer this question. And politricians, both in the then and the now, both in the opposition and the ruling government, are put on notice by the people. It's not going to therefore be politics as usual. Things are changing. There is a paradigm shift, both politically, socially, culturally, in we body politics. It's slow. Some people are seeing it. Others are in denial. But trust me, it is happening. In the dawn of social media, just filter through, you see what here they talk about. Famulem, this action, okay, we constitute a daylight thievery. And at the time, some serious civil society organizations, they mentioned this. And some not even hesitate for use very, very distinguished language for describe exactly what they speak to. There was little fear then, as at now. Like, for example, New, headed by Marcella Samba, they don't mince them words. They call on thievery, they call on thuggish behavior on waiting happen. Una all remember constituency 110. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been sleepwalking into this position we start with today. Some people wish that we can forget, but we will not forget. And we will continue for remind with people exactly why we are where we are today. Some people want to make like say everything was holy. And people are just casting blames that nothing really happened. Constituency 110 not very long ago. A sacred ground, I can call them. I like for referring to as a sacred ground of the people. It became reminiscent of the 1980s ballot stuffing, which we see now. The changing of results, election results, which is criminal in a sense, that has been highlighted many times, in which the ruling party is found complicit. So therefore, we have not been able to convict anyone because they were doing it in behalf of the ruling party. Constituency 110, government official in daytime, broad daylight. They didn't even give a hoot about anything, whether cameras are running, social media. This speaks a lot. Them badges, some of them badges clear, where you can see the identification, the name and the faces identification, official identification for those of us who will not be sabi them. As well as for people that we already sabi them because these are public figures, they know them very well. Went into a polling center. Because the election not been a golden way, they stormed inside it. They actually took the people's vote. Them go and cannot do. Step on them. Something sacred, where you step on it, you know the meaning. Now that's why I say sacred. And it was sacred. And nothing, why I say nothing, harara, not come up from there. Now you think about it. BUSLPP, NGC, C4C, and all the other political party, them, including the ruling party, people within the ruling party, people with conscience. That's what I am appealing to. You look into this, whether that was right. A people's ballot. They go your own way. So you stop them in violence, in full view of law enforcement officers, them, we can decide when and how for act like a dog being commanded on waiting for do and how for do. Whether or not they wag the tail or their tail is being wagged, it can be hard for that understanding sometimes. And I can always say reminiscent of the 1980s, ballot stuffing, thuggery, violence, coercion, threats, beatings, death, jail. We've seen this in 2022. 2021, 2020. We've seen this all in real time. Fambulem, the EU follow-up result from 2018, completely dismal. From waiting those of us where they follow public happenings, where they try for hold we government accountable, we officially accountable, not only the government, political party operatives, hold them responsible, because there is a duty on the part of everybody we understand the contract as with the public and the public with them, and the responsibilities as political party operatives. So you not necessarily get for dinner government for you to be questioned how you carry yourself, not necessarily. So Fambulem, as we say, all of these things happen, and the EU will be observing happen prior to the 2018 elections and make recommendations. When they come back again for can do the evaluation, the assessment, almost 4 years on, those of us with the follow, we equally disappointed again, and even more disappointed than the last time. Why do I say this? Because if we be identified, or people and be identified with mistakes and with shortcomings then, and also we did so now, we don't look say they're not identified with shortcomings then for we. Okay? Our shortcomings have been identified for us. Yeah? We know say we're supposed to do something about that, because that's the entire idea about why then we can evaluate and assess you. For let you make correction that things the way you do not right, you realize that because they are pointed out to you. They say you're not a student, you fail your first term or you fail your exams, and this is it. And then what you decide for do now is, well, I will try for do better by looking at my shortcomings, my weaknesses, and try for turn them to strength. But not in this case. When the EU turn up again, 4 years on, we institutions then turn out to be worse than they were before. Worse. State capture has taken place on a huge level, in which state institutions that are critical, all of the institutions are critical to the running of the state, to the democratic empowerment of we people then for creating a democratic space so that we people then go able for operate, exercise their franchise, their rights, their opinions. All of that happened for be stifled through these institutions, and in this case, very key institutions of the state, i.e. the police, the judiciary, NEC or ECSL as they call themselves now, and a few more PPRC. Famulem, imagine this. And waiting now they do, they talk about government or government operatives or the judiciary. Of course, they get can't defend themselves. But when they can't defend themselves, they were so blatantly, reckless, that they blame the people and we can assess them, evaluate them, for blame them, say, well, the evaluation is completely wrong, it's biased, it's one-sided, it's not reflective of the reality on the ground. But we serve the citizens there, we get yes to the yeri, waiting a God. Is it not true that the police is compromised? Is it not true that the judiciary is compromised? Was it not compromised under Aneskoroma? Yes, it was. We saw the sacking of a vice president and justified, by the judiciary and everything else. Because why? All these institutions, which I think we try for do away with, they can become compromised and become subservient to the order of the day. This is why you hear from orders from above. But instead of us watering these things down and making these things them history, they are becoming part and parcel of the structure of the state and even getting worse. So Naime could say when the EU become then when they do the recommendation them back under Anescoma, analyze, evaluate them, assess them for the past 4, 5, 10, 11 years where he ruled for, these are the shortcomings. But it's no longer in power. So what do we learn from the recommendations the way they give it? So instead of we take that on and try for do what you're supposed to do for change the narrative for the greater good of the nation and we country and we people, we not do that at all. Instead, we decide for double down and say, listen, them people are the wrong. Now we not like now, but that people them. This now the witsman them, but when are we moral guarantors? And some people are not understand this. Where you call on international community, they can say, oh, it's international community and what have you. But now the same people them way, if you turn the other way around, they will be doing the same. But ladies and gentlemen, I get news for you now. The international community are part of we moral and democratic guarantors. So when within we self, because again we for don't get that Independence Day for conduct we self wisely. So we can only go to them and go give a presentation to them or references to them. Not to them they can't we again and can't tell we do this, do this, do that. That's the disgraceful part. But unfortunately, because we can't handle ourselves because of greed and selfishness, we then continue for can't we and can't tell we say we are not holding up to the democratic principles that we supposed to do. I get a different take because I believe democratic principles within them, it get caveats way for reflect the national identity of a country. In other words, with cultural and historic background, not to something else from some other side. That's why it's difficult for it to work for us. But we can do that ourselves. But unfortunately, because of greed and selfishness and for hold on to power, it doesn't seem to work for us. And this has to change. This is why people like us, they champion any crusade that talks about the liberation of our people and we country from the yoke of oppression and tyranny. That's what we are after. That's why we go participate and take part with people then like Cherno, Africanist Press Bar, the editor for Africanist Press, a great publisher of books. You see people that they try for say all kind. Of course, do you think the guy cares? He doesn't. He's laser focused on his work. Laser focus. That's why we've teamed up with Mohamed Warise, an advocate, a voice for advocacy. Advocacy, when you do not demand you the demand for take what is yours. Not a request you they make on a demand now you they make. This is ours. It must be given to us. This is what people like this are doing, ladies and gentlemen. Famulem, what thing they happen in our country and what will they go through is important and what will they try for highlight now. Very important. Why again? Because we're at the crossroad of history once more. An election we will decide the fate of the country by virtue of who that and therefore lead the country in the next 5 years is almost upon us. And whilst it's upon us, we see, people and they try for manipulate the outcome of what is supposed to be an open process. And if people and think say they will get away with it, well, probably they will, but not until they are being exposed. They will be exposed because until our last breath, we go continue for talk, which will talk in behalf of we nation. And in this, we bear no fear at all. No fear at all. Because why? We don't say we get the brunt of with people with us. Forget about the chap one them. What I mean by chap one them, the one them way indecent in politics, the one them way they support on the basis of person instead of policy, individual instead of policy we go wholesale benefit the country or a certain segment of people instead of an individual or just a group of individuals and where they follow a particular person. When they talk about the country as a whole, when they look at holistic approaches them, looking for solutions we go benefit the country. Not personal, really not personal. That's what we are doing. So the institution them, we notice say they have been captured prior to the now. And this been they happen for quite a long time. And it's not like we were quiet. We get for play some video, then we go like 2 years back, 1 year back, where we talk to people like Dr. Jonathan Sandi of the National Unification Party. It appeared on this platform a few times where people like you want to criticize this platform as if now one set of people with a bring come. But such now the short memory where some people and they suffer from. We don't bring Dr. Bernadette Lahai on this platform for talk about issues. The mayor of Freetown has been on this platform for talk about issues. Emmanuel Ali has been on this platform a few times on this platform for talk about issues. Different people then. Yeah? Different people, journalists. The current chair for waiting in position now, but the chair for the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists Large, Nasrallah. Ahmed Nasrallah, the monk, has been on this platform. The head of media now for Abe College, what is my name? He named no sleep. Dr. Tonya Musa has been on this platform, a credible platform of some reputation, yeah, unlike others, many others. When they say others, they don't run do harm. But we are open, and even as we speak now, the challenge is on your doorstep. It's on your feet for take up the mantle where we exchange. What they extend to you. Come on for an interview. Come on, let's have a conversation. Come tell us what we're doing if we feel say we do something wrong. Come tell me what they do wrong. Come there we talk about issues around the country. So anyway, on the issue of election, the capturing of the state, which is a normative procedure we can take place. Normative, now that after thing we can happen the beginning of the tie bargain for rig an election where they come, where some people not can see from the beginning. People like Dr. Jonathan Sandi had identified this a long time ago, along with many others. Mr. Victor Mengot, who's been on this platform multiple times, a professional road expert, been on the platform many times, and sometimes we can drift away from in profession because, of course, he's a Sierra Leonean and has a voice too. So he can express that in voice day in a very critical way, very tepid, and tempered way, very professional way. So we don't see this don't happen to a point now where it become open game. So the judiciary, which is responsible for the dispensation of impartial justice, Fambulem, NEC, now known as the ECSL, which is responsible for the conduct of free and fair election, create the atmosphere for let we enjoy free and fair elections. The PPRC, whose responsibility now for regulate the conduct of political affairs. We talk about this about 2 years or more ago. PPRC was on our spotlight for quite a while. We've been there. The deputy leader of Wikamarimba in party name, Mr. Umfaji Kabab, I don't appear on this platform many times. We've discussed this. We've talked about how them in hijackam the process. We talk about Zainab Mosiri, the woman now we don't become a linchpin in the fight for the stealing of this election. We talked about her and how unjudiciously they had this body and what it do for disadvantage other political party them to a point when she was rewarded with in current position where you get because she's a diehard. That's how it was. So instead of having somebody of neutrality in that particular position there, they talk about the PPRC whose business now for regulate the conduct of political parties. Instead, it was a partisan, extremely partisan person. We make her known by her actions during that period. And we feel vindicated again because in the end, she exposed herself and we see how she was richly rewarded by the party in power. And then you get the police, whose business is to serve and to protect the nation. They not do all of this. Instead, they not state capture them and then they operate arm in arm, in tandem, shoulder by shoulder with the government instead of the people in the case of wrongdoing, complete wrongdoing. So all of these important institutions in Fambul, they don't compromise them. They don't state capture them. Yes. And this is what we've been talking about now. And it don't become very prominent when I see what we talk about 2 years ago. And like I say again, as evidently clear because some of we Sierra Leonean we can make like say we suffer from amnesia. And we want, you're like cherry pick quitting. We want for say we be not talk about. No. We will play the video there so we're going to say what we talk about is not new, and these are things that will be known, they predict on the outcome. And sure enough, now then we see so. The EU come inside and weigh in on the expulsion, a very, very sad state of affairs, the expulsion of 10 political party people. Why? First of all, the process used was totally unjudicious. The replacement was unjudicious, and then it tipped the balance of power, which makes so much difference, which therefore serve as a motive for why it was done in the first place. In other words, to gain the majority and deprive the majority, if you understand what I mean. So decisions made will go your way. That's unfair, isn't it? Not a level playing field, and especially when it comes to the law, you tamper with the law for get an undue advantage. And then when people in talk now, when I want to make like say people are making this up, these evidence are clear. We need to go back to them. This is why we highlight them today, 4 years ago, to where we are marching onto elections. So the EU come inside where talk about and like I talked earlier on, they accuse the EU. I remember this was on 98.1. I think na Khadija or one of them girl they waiting on 98.1 when they talk to a guy from the judiciary. If you hear what they talk, they say the interpretation by the EU of the law was inaccurate. That was in description. That was in description. So let me come to a $10 million scandal. Of course, we fast forward this because Few things in there for last say before I close this program, and I promise I want to make this program 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So we started late 30 minutes, and we actually get 29 more minutes if I be 1 more hour, but I'll cut them down to 29 minutes. And at 8:30, we will bring this program to a close. So right now, as we speak, part of the process is a scandal on the ECSL, the people that were supposed to conduct a free and fair elections. A judicious body, where is guided by the law, is now involved in a $10 million scandal where they're supposed for use for their voter material them for make sure say the process goes smoothly. Now we see say the process not go smoothly, they go smoothly for many reasons, apart from the capturing of the state and the messing about with election material them. They also buy substandard materials and far less than waiting is supposed for buy, therefore having an impact on the voter registration. This in itself is criminal, and I don't know why Mr. Francis Ben Kaifala not weigh in yet. He probably might weigh in at the last minute as we don't begin to see other politicians they don't begin to weigh in. But this nothing will be known they call out for quite a while that the voter registration process from the very beginning was really, really uncalled for, unacceptable. Week one, in fact, before they commence the directive where they give it as to how they get for conduct them, that was 2 weeks here, 2 weeks here, and there was an outcry. It's like, no, this is not going to happen. We saw a tepid response from members of parliament, especially so the leadership of the opposition, who is supposed to be vehemently critical. I mean, you can have your politics say you're not sheep, so your approach is soft. You've got this cuddly teddy bear smile, but you are a government in waiting, so therefore you get for act as such, especially where opportunity presents itself. You can't just look the other way and give the other people and for capitalize on them blunder where you're supposed to take the advantage of that. And then you don't take it, and then you don't expect people to identify that, not in behalf of your party, because that's your business, you are your party people, but you also get an obligation to the state. So even though you're a party in opposition, the All People's Congress, there is a responsibility, an obligation to the state. Okay? That's why you are the official opposition party in parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, this is critical. I honestly believe, say, we country, a dip and transform. And the government of President Bio is spent. Why do I say this? If you're not spent, then obviously when you dey go to elections, now message now you dey go on. Have you heard the message? Have you seen the message? No, there's no message. Yes, you can talk about free education, and waiting else you dey talk about free education because it gives them. Of course, kudos to the president for introducing free education in the first place, because other than the hiccups, tens of thousands of our people, and we're picking them, then they go to school free. Free. Not all of them. Of course, the program itself get many challenges, and I've been critical of the program. It doesn't mean that I don't welcome the program, I do. But as a public analyst, okay, as a public policy professional, I must say that the policy, in my opinion, and evidence points to that, was not quite thought through. And instead of phasing it out in segments as a pilot program gradually, they unleash them on this level. So it was prone to failure in the first place. But that was the president's prerogative. That not be in priority. And he take the onus for the criticism anyway. This is why I believe that there is no message, because you haven't changed the lives of the people as you promised. You haven't changed the economy at all. No, you haven't. The economy still the teeter on the brink of collapse. The rate today, as I asked, because I supposed to send money for Famulem, is 16,500. The other day, it been just day at 16. I think that was last week. Imagine waiting the other day, not to 10p, 20p, but 50p, half of a leon. Now in the add so we really get for look into this in ASPA. Waiting actually they go on. How do we solve some of these problem then? How? The message where the president get. The message where the president get. No, the president doesn't seem to have any message as at this point. So they are making things as they go along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I asked the assay, the Government of President Julius Maada Bio is spent, and I they try for give reasons why. And I get boku reasons for give again apart from what I don't see. When I watch this short tape,
the people want change. The people are tired of the suffering of paying for a bag of rice at 200,000 from only 60,000 in 2007. The people want democratic change to end their suffering. But what type of change do we want for this great nation? What type of change do we want for the children's future? What type of change?
Okay, the video they cut, but una clearly hear that. This is quite interesting, not to so far, Mulem. Quite interesting. So you see what they talk about? The president asks who's can change where the people want and cite examples as to why the people want change. He cite a bag of rice. You see how we get to be careful in with politics? He cite the cost of a bag of rice. That was then. And this was candidate Julius Maada Bio. By then he wasn't president yet. He was a candidate and it'd be easy for make the case. So he was making the case against Anes Koroma. Anes Koroma wasn't running any longer. But Anes Koroma obviously been a supporting party and the party candidate winner Dr. Wilson Samora for become Dr. Wilson Samora for become president. So President Bio, candidate Bio then been make the case who's kind change where we people want and why we people want change. In other words, this tape is based on the cost of living then. Okay? The cost of living. We don't become an overwhelming factor under President Bio. You need to ask yourself now, what's the cost of a bag of rice? I'm not asking for begin for justify them as yet. Just ask yourself, what's the cost of a bag of rice? So if President Bio been say on them basis then we needed a change, which I agree with them altogether, because that was a living crisis was in the making that people could barely afford. They could afford it then because it wasn't really worse, but it was unacceptable that the price of basic commodity be they go up then, and this now we staple food for we people then, it be they go up. So the now president come and make the case. Of course, he was making political points, scoring political points. See what thing come now for Hunter. This is why I say there is no message. What's the cost of a bag of rice now? What's the cost for pepper, a cup of pepper? What's the cost for 1 tin per mine? What's the cost of plasas? What's the cost of a pound beef? Everything has gone out of the roof. Everything. The cost of living crisis has never witnessed before. Probably in the 1980s, because in the 1980s there was a complete breakdown. This is an era that I've been not saying this before in many of my conversations then and publicly stated. I see the whole Musa come on, my mama, they cook fine dry fish, fine pamine, fine beef, I see the transformation take place from that level there of fine pamine, fine dry fish to with soup. Now the time with soup became common. Quaker oats them, lunch them in, they all disappear on the shelf. I saw this. The Fulamanusa have been there na Hook Street. I mean Black Hall Road, the junction of Hooks, na Hook Street, where they go down Sagola. The Fulamami, they ride the Hook Street, Black Hall Road. Yeah. I see in shop where they full up, all kinds of things, all the shelf they full up. I see where that shelf they go completely dry. Where you go there, something na one thing sardine you go see team up there, and maybe that one thing sardine self na exhibit. Not even there for sale. So on a more serious note, you can compare it to this period here, and this is exactly where we are. So the president make the case then, and here waiting come back for can hunt him. So now that make I honestly believe say the president in time is spent. He make the case then, and then look the case we turn against her now. Dollar na 16.50 to a pound. Leons to pound. 16.50. Can you imagine that? Inflation they run rampant. And the basic excuse is like, well, things are rough. It's not only domestically, but it's also internationally, which is true, but we probably not begin now. It began a long time ago, and you've not been able to manage the problem. And the worst thing is you fiscally indiscipline. That's the problem. A ballooning wage bill. Because that's what you do. You laugh, you compensate austerity. That's what you're supposed to introduce. Cut down expenditure when not necessary. But we see the increase in expenditure when not necessary. And then people are suffering. And then you want to be forgiven. That's very, very difficult, Mr. President. So what we need for ask ourselves, or family when they watch this program or we get for watch them, wanna ask ourselves, are we not really suffering now than ever before, at least in recent memory, since after the war? From the three most basic necessities in our life, which is food, which is clothes, and which is shelter. Are we not suffering from these? Yes. For me, the answer is yes, because I get communication on a daily basis. I watch social media, I get families, and it is true. And the president himself has accepted this. The bank governor have accepted this. And another reason why I say that they are spent, the government of President Bio is spent, is the president don't come out and don't say, well, I'm not going able for help Fambulem, because this is a dire thing where they even beyond me reach. Now imagine a president saying this, but he said it. He don't say him. He say not able for help. Same thing again. The same president don't talk about if you remember where people they talk about basic how you call them the ground dry bread and butter. This was their fine caption and the way they come to power with, and it be so appealing to people because why people were beginning to feel the pinch, which was true then, but it is worse now, and you cannot deny this fact. They say, well, we can't help it, but you been promised them. And I can hear some people, they blame people, go work, go on a farm, go do this, not to all thing government, not to all that government. I think one basic fundamental mistake when they make, and I have no doubt about this, is for let you operate now a country, the responsibility of the government is first of all for create the atmosphere. And that atmosphere means you forget a functioning economy. Now inside that economy, they people and they perform and help for grow the economy, because the economy is helping them. It become a two-way thing. But you first of all need for create an economy which is buoyant, which is performing, which is doing well. Other than that, yes, one or two things. First thing, plant 50 acres of Resiana, we can help a little bit. But if you don't have a wholesome functioning economy, at the top of a functioning economy, under outside people they need for operate and feel safe, and then get them safeguards they are. Because now in the creator, then it wouldn't work. Don't tell people, say, go make farm where you cannot create or stabilize the economy. You say, go make farm. It doesn't work that way. So what you cannot do is for run the economy on propaganda. And waiting you and your minion they do is, you be not tell we say, you don't fulfill your manifesto agenda. Can you imagine? Some of this is really laughable. The people are working right for the president. I mean, sometimes the president himself can read, he can reach certain part where he can pass he can pause first. And I can give you a few examples. You remember the one we have in Akono? When the people outrightly reject him after he read them. He paused when he see them, but he been here for read them anyway. Had he been smart enough, if for be found way for change them somehow. It happened again inside parliament. You remember Usai Ramatulai, the pardon lie, you remember that? Something we go say in a parliament which was outrageous, atrocious. He said it in parliament. People went and lived in the city, knowing fully well that this is not true, but they put on the president in speech. If I were the president, I would fire them people there immediately as they come out. And then they reach them in a state house. Now telephone call they make, and I send them to the radio station. Them say them people there, they are fired. How dare you make a mockery out of the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone? How dare you make a mockery out of this fountain of honor, this fountain of hope? How dare you? But what thing that happened is the president himself seemed to be complicit in this, because he not seem for the performing task as supposed to how he's supposed for performance. So as dictated by the law of gravity, then they get insulated. So more and more they are becoming themselves. And I make you the hearing about these things, say, well, I so them. Because of course, they don't trust any other people them any longer. Because when you trust people them, you are with them. You are with the people are with you. So they become insulated. It's all about them. They can only draw support from the hardcore supporters and then begin for preach messages of division, tribal and regional loyalty. That's what waiting they begin for demand. And only if you can give them that then go bring you that close. And then they go reward you through bribery, through some job, or give you money, or give you some business. This is what's happening. This is kleptomania. This is autocracy. Right before our eyes. This is what's happening. So whilst people and they look up to the leader them for survival, the leaders are in denial mode. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Can you imagine? Who will the people turn to now? This is the dilemma. And this is why I say the administration is spent, despite all that they are doing to steal the people's election. The president Once more, until we make them very clear, say, Paddy man, them are not able for help. The bank governor, it finally don't concede after so many trials. That part don't try all kind thing. All kind thing. It not work. I mean, for say he's a failed economist, it won't be, yeah, out of it won't be out of language for say that, because after all, if you are giving something for manage and you not manage them well, it collapse or you not do well, then you failed at the task. See, we take with time for explain these things, and the bank manager has failed at the assignment given to him by the president. He's been unable for change the dynamics. He's tried almost everything. He don't auction, he don't buy, he don't sell, he don't change williams. We still probably in a long term, maybe. So we'll get for we'll get for whole with peace and see maybe this last one we do by changing the money. Although we hear say now then one day we get election money in the millions, if not billions, so we stash at their homes is directed against them. But so far that has no help. But like I say, maybe not for the long term, but the part don't fail we. Normally, if I don't go by now, because it's taking quite a long time. If self don't concede, say, I know say this business here, it is art. It is hot with people them. But unfortunately, I cannot help. Can you imagine a man concede, a public servant concede that I cannot do it anymore, there's nothing I can do? What are they still doing at their job? What is still they do their job, President Bio? But for your own sake, Preso, you can actually pull this man come out and put somebody else there just for buy time, because the man not admit say I failed you. He failed the president, he failed the people, and he's come out and admitted it. And I love this. I love owning up. I love responsibility. This is what the bank governor has done. He's an old man now. He's supposed for the enjoy in benefits there now, and he's done well in terms of he don't do work, he don't get paid, he don't make a name. He's gone down as a bank governor of Sierra Leone, but a failed one for that matter. And he don't own up. He say not able again. So President Bio, don't you think it's time for him to go, sir? Don't you think so? There's a joke around, say, the bank governor is a teller. I don't hear this joke from a friend, Chernobyl of the Africanist Press. Somehow somebody tell and say, because the president can just send people them for go, just circumvent the rules of the nation, the laws of the nation. Yeah. When President Biobi the kind of power, some of us, we finally agree, say, well, this guy, because now so he's selling himself, and some of us buy that. This guy is the candidate of hope, is the candidate for law and order. There was a bit of a hope, because we go back to the days when they just take over as 27-year-old, 30-year-old in the country, running wild, running amok, and we take them for be serious. They grab the money, go wait for people and you building and see that they can't late. And we'll say yes. And when he come back, so he try to do the same thing. We'll not buy into that any longer, because times has changed. Some 20, 30 years ago, I mean, this is completely different. You could have installed card readers there and issue people their cards and they can't swipe. When I get that time, the people the way you go send they're not supposed to dinner in their own office. So now people that will be smart begin for read that this was just puppy show. Because these were reminiscent of waiting and do some 30 years ago when they were young soldiers, zealous, to do the right thing. I'm sure they wanted to do the right thing until their heads became something else and people then change the direction inside them in a go. Then pardon, they allow them for can penetrate them again. And in fact, now the pardon be denying and do. So instead of working for the people, when the people question the state of affairs, then threaten them. And I've been talking the story about how the president can just go take money. So the bank governor telling party them inside a private conversation, say, hey, he say, boy, he say, me not tell her now, he say, where they come for money. President say 10 million, 100 million, I give the sopa. So that's it. So when we, the people, begin to question the affairs of the state, we get threatened. Some people get beaten. Some people get abused. Some people get jailed. Some people even lose their lives. Let's not forget, McKinney was there. Pademba Road was there. Tombo was there. August 10 was there. Sierra Leoneans then lost their lives for daring to come out and protest the cost of living. I always say that there was a cause for the protest. I didn't support the protest then, but I believe in protest. This is what I've been saying. But the people getting right for come out, and there was a cause for come out for protest because the cost of living is unbearable. So all of these people lost their lives. So instead of you work for the people and bring the message and show what you don't do, because election is about messaging. What you don't do for the people them, now for show them, and on that basis they now so they will re-elect you. But there's nothing for show. Nothing for show. So what will they plan for do now? Now how for steal the election. They do all kind of diba, all kind of courtier chapia. But you get people that like Wari say, you get a lot of other people who are talking about these things because it's necessary. It might go the other way. They don't believe that at all, and then believe that the need for continue for talk. Family, there is a dysfunction in the government of Sierra Leone. And this dysfunction, and one way then self don't help for create. Now one way then self don't help for create, family. And like I say, I'm being critical of the government of President Bio under the SLPP, but I still get me more where they drink. And I love this, one country, one people. That's what I'm using tonight. And having black coffee, don't run cold. But the truth shall set you free. So this dysfunction, where I say they help for create themselves, it's about mass sackings. Remember from the beginning, I get one my friend with me, and he can always talk about this mass sacking. He can get them completely confused that when a new government they come with young people. Well, it depends on which people you talk about. It's obvious. You talk about top notch. You can keep some minister them. Yes, minister them go get for go because you need people who you can count on. That's at the prerogative of the president. The discretion of the president, rather. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. And few other people can go. No mass sacking. I think say that my friend can get this completely wrong. No mass sacking. Even the government officials, like public servants, them, civil servants, them, you don't sack them. Probably the head of the civil servant politically can go. But public servants are always there for carve out government in policy. Now then they work, now then are the instrument, the skeleton of every government will come. So when government phase out, yes, they phase out with them, big allege with them, then minister them, head of parastatal, then president the county on. But that structure, that skeleton there, where they manage every government will come. Then they talk about the head of the Civil Service Association, and probably most likely, especially if not the political appointment, can go. But the rest is not political appointment. These are professionals. You have to keep them there. As soon as you remove one, you've removed an engine. We make the rest of the engine they function well. So there were this mass sacking of people. We see corruption at some height. We see the sacking of Lara Piastello, the Auditor General, the boss of the Auditor General, sacked. The only reason given is lack of professional thereof. 30 days with the wait. A 3-4 man committee was set up for investigate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is outrageous. That 1 year on, the woman they out of job. I shall say they get in salary, but 1 year on, because the salary is not the issue. We now know say now for keep them away from that auditing business the way it been they do, because it was not to the likeness of the big one them, because it been out them too much. It's like, you know what, team, go take a leave. What they pay you, but stay out of this business. Everything they publish there, he sits there. That's what now they do to him. The only credible institution left now in country, headed by one of the only credible people left. Don't forget the language. One of the only credible people left. Madame Telopias, she got relieved of her duty. 1 year on, the presidency set up a tribunal, a conflicted tribunal. We don't even meet up the threshold as designed and indicated by law. I need for listen to this and understand exactly what they go on. Statistics Sierra Leone, over 240 some more Sierra Leoneans fired on flimsy excuses. This was a report that I follow to the letter. We broadcasted on this. We interviewed some of them. I get private emails from some of them, telephone calls, messages from some of them, giving me an insight. In fact, when the sacking did take place, the letters given to some things are still getting on the archive. Just an A4 folded, no envelope, no decency. Mass sacked Sierra Leoneans them. And guess what? You know what? Because they supposedly belong to a party, supposedly belong to a particular region, not the country. President mass sack them and create an avenue for somebody else way suitable for them for take over them place then they. So you deprive a huge number of your citizens them of job. These people they get family. They say because some they not get high school certificate, some they not get a college certificate, which turned out to be untrue. Like I was saying, I think what I delved deep into, then certificate and they on my desk in my archive, they were sent to me. And we authenticate them by doing a follow-up and asking. Drivers and all were sacked. Drivers, janitors were sacked. So this is what I mean by the dysfunction. So the evidence point say the people have shown an inclination for change. August 10 and many other things them and all of this evidence what I don't give now. Now who are they able for bear this? So the people then will demand that change in this endeavor, this change where the people they want, the international community seem for the stand with them more and more. I don't know why me no seem for the scratch me so much this evening on this broadcast. Yeah. So the international community anyway is standing with the people on this particular endeavor. And these people, and once more again, I must highlight, because people think, why the international community? Oh, yeah, right. Of course. If you don't want to let them interfere, don't take their money. Almost 75% of payment they make to we civil servants them, we public employee them. Now these people and they facilitate them payment and they 75, but almost 75% of that. So therefore, then get much for put inside, and that make then now we moral and democratic guarantor them. We will begin with what and they can't help we and they set up all the institutions there again, spend huge sums of money. So you see, they've invested for make sure say things go the people their own way and their own way because then self get interest. Not of us in not get interest. This is why sometimes we can have a go at them, but we're not doing well either. We're not doing well either. But in this case, in the quest for freedom, for emancipation, the international community undoubtedly they stand with the people. And we see the role them where they happen. First, it not been the see and so. When you see the UK High Commissioner turn up, now far-flung places them, Tonkolili, and actually they speak the language, which means that she's trying to endear herself with the masses of people, not the official, then the see, and most times in private. But now in the open and speaking the language where the people and they talk, she's trying to communicate with the people. Them. When you see me, tell me I do. I am the British High Commissioner in Sierra Leone. Today we did Maboraka. If you don't get the clue, then you need to examine. There is a general fear within the country and one which is well-founded too. That where the two way we go begin for become clear. In other words, if we begin for CC with the lost power, will they begin for become more draconian? Will they become reckless and irrational? This take me to the first lady. We not say them try for downplay the statement. The people are not come out, the damage controller them for can't tell we something where we self know. We old enough. We get brain enough, half a brain enough for understand say the statement that she made regarding coup. As soon as she begin mention coup and then you attribute that coup to your husband, it's uncalled for, it's unacceptable, both in local standard and international standard. There is no two way that you can explain this, Madam First Lady, or the people where they can try for normalize the thing where you say, no, it's unacceptable. That damage is done. You go call your man, say your man you get PhD pan coup. Then you say na light, you want to say na light-hearted joke. I see you people and they come up for can say, well, the coup not be bloody, the other one be, palace coup, this, that. A coup is a coup and it's illegitimate, it's unconstitutional and unjudicial. That's what it is. Simple same. Period. I'm not going to waste time on this tonight. The economic stress in the country is rampant, Fambulem. Completely rampant. The government of Sierra Leone continue to remain in denial. There are mixed message in the same, in fact. At some point, like I talked earlier on, they accept say, well, things are really bad. Remember the bread and butter issue? Remember the gun guy? Then begin whether or not be back talk on for cajole the people them. Well, the gun guy for we all. No, the gun not guy for we all. Because Mr. Minister, you better they shoot out. And when you better they shoot out, it means you they eat. Not out of stress, make you better they come up. The people that when they eat or when they in stress, their neck they long. They are becoming thinner, emaciated in some cases. Can't feed them, fumble them. Stress, thinking, and so much more. So we know this. Bread and butter issue, una be promise say, they can't change this dynamic this hard time, and they can't bring plenty. Not only una not bring plenty, una not even bring some. In fact, it's worse. The evidence is there, I'm not making this up. So the greatest fear that I think that the government of Sierra Leone they face right now is the restlessness of a very, very youthful population. The restlessness of a very, very youthful population. They want them when they get informed by the day of their rights and responsibilities. So, in short, unrest and uprising. Of course, they uppermost not the mind. Why? Because this will be a normal response to the situation as it is now. And again, once more, not making this up. If you push people into the wall, they can't go through the wall. They will have to come back. The cost of living crisis not a joke now the country at all. As we begin to see, pardon me, as we begin to see the increment in the voices of dissent, such as waiting at the do so. I mean, I'm not coddling the government. I'm just saying the fact that the cost of living crisis is becoming unbearable. Imagine when a nation of sufferer them, we can bear so much, but we see come to the point where we can't bear and we don't openly begin to express that. You must know, say, equivalent to that we famous saying in our country, say, water don't pass Gary. And for let water pass Gary, famulem, una know say not a small thing. So we go begin see censorship, we go begin see draconian moves, begin see that they gata we, then they try for close we space, like with the cyber crime law. But the fact is, the cost of living crisis, now in you need for solve. Once you solve that, the tension will come down because people are able for eat, they're able for fend food. So now different thing now in their mind. So what do you they do in this case without solving this problem is you they push people into the wall. And like I say again, if people cannot come back or go through the wall, they will come back at you. They will care less. Let's be honest. That rational thinking is gone because it's a matter of survival now. Now the animal instinct now in the kicking. And once it kick in, rationality is gone. Waiting for be now, let it be. Remember, I'm not calling for this. I'm just pointing out the circumstances before you get me word I'm twisted out there. So the people are demanding. No, they are not asking. It's theirs. It's their right. Remember, I talked about advocacy earlier on. People the way they advocate, not demand and they demand because where they call for your right, not demand you they demand for them because it's your right. It's your right. Give me my right. Give me my right to vote. Not deprive me of my right to vote. The law say I've got a right to vote. And you need for take me through the process. Am I eligible? Yes, I think I am. What's the process? But first time voter, yes. Where you proof? You pull your proof, your ID card, your birth certificate. Or I think there is some caveat around the same law we say somebody of some reputable standing can come and say that yes, I can attest say this person is of so. But we've seen otherwise. So you think the people they get pissed off by the kind of action they are depriving people and grab early money for can't exercise their franchise and you deprive them. The law also says if you deprive them or you tell them no that they can't, you have to offer them a reason by giving them an official note, a paper for show why you they reject them. This also has not been given because we are tallying these figures and we know say we they come out with something soon. So when the people are beginning for demand for the equity, the fair play, then justice, and you name all the other things them we actually belong to the people. When this term will come, then go turn at the hope say then go turn their anger directly at the politician them, then politrician them. Then go turn the anger to them. Then one day we don't fail us for so long on either side, all politicians. So as usual, then coward they are what they call themselves politicians. What they can normally do now the security forces, the paramilitary forces, now in they can summon because now behind them they can hide. Family, one thing what we need for understand is the same guns we they can use for protect them now in they supposed for use for protect we. In fact, then guns then they are meant to protect us. Now we they pay for them, taxpayer the money, and these people are supposed to do their duty in we favor. Then they work for we, not to the other way around. Then just happen for be the officials. But they get so much of this power that they're able for influence the security forces them when we go and make demands and turn the security forces against we. So they use their guns and give them orders. say una fire them or una keep the peace. Forgetting for no say they not keep the peace by breaking the social contract way exist or supposed for exist between them and the people vis-a-vis the people and them. Imagine this. So wetin are they foresee one day famulem? Wetin are they foresee one day famulem? Then crook there, then crook, what they call Poli'TRIC'cians, then where they play perform trick them pan we. Okay? When they give orders to the security forces one day, and I hope say this will happen, and I pray the security forces fail for follow orders. Fail for follow orders. Because why? Suddenly, there is a dawn of a new day that the security forces they don't realize it, that the people the way you they ask me for open fire pan, these are our family, these are us, we are them. These are us, we are them. They are the taxpayers. They buy these guns. I don't see what they've done that they deserve to be gunned down. So suddenly they refuse for take them kind orders. Then they and say no. This now we family them. This now we relative them. Family them. Remember this. Is it not all over for the politician them? Is this not the change that we want to see? Don't you look forward to this kind of change for your country, Sierra Leone? I certainly look forward for this kind of change in my country. I admonish you today, be an agent for change. Spread the gospel, the good news. Share this video, make sure say it go viral. Let others be part of this conversation. Help send the broadcast viral. Famulem. It's important that we keep with Poli'TRIC'cians them on their toes. They really deserve for they on their toes. Honestly, there is no two way about it. Let's just read some quick comments and then we close the program. Good evening, peace. Watching from Milan, Italy. Hello, Milan. How wanna they do they with una new leadership? I hope all is well, Mr. Sanko. Aminata Kabo, good evening there. Good evening, Madam Kabo. Blessing there, blessing to you, sister. Good evening from Northern Ireland. Good evening, Comrade Delwyn Thomas. I hope all is well in Northern Ireland. Thanks for watching. George Orwell, good day, Mr. Chroma. Good day, Mr. Orwell. Thanks for keeping the peace. Mariatu Anderson, hi, Mariatu, how are you? Zainab Koroma, hi, Madam Zainab Koroma, how you do? Fuad Sise, welcome, TNN Empire. Many thanks, Madam Fuad Sise. Ripo Mo, hey, Ripo, how are you? The brother and myself once upon a time in the Guinea. Very good footballer, but we are all old people now, not playing football anymore. Martha Bangura is watching. Hi, Sister Martha. Tommy Cabo. General Tommy, how you do? We see people that like this, we feel safe, we're back there safe. Hi, brother Tommy. I hope all is well. Thank you for watching. Asi Bangura. Hi, Asi. Much love to you as well, sister. Fans of the African Express. Who is your guest today, please? Sorry, I'm not going to guest today. It was more like a monologue. The African Express will be on the platform tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in. And it will be on point as usual on a different dimension, but covering everything Sierra Leone. Don't forget to watch. Fans of the African Express. George Orwell, Mr. Chroma, I suggest that you focus on issues that are important rather than wasting time on people who just want to distract you from the important issue. Mr. Ba is asking you, who is your guest today on the program? Yes, George Orwell. Thanks. I just see this now. I've been decided for do that, just for about 5, not even 5 minutes, 1-2 minutes. But go carry it away and do 3-4 minutes on them. But thank you for that. I'm done with that. If I want to release something, I don't even have to talk about it. I'll just release it. Many thanks for that. Wonder Man T, your monologue is rich and bullet points and choice of word is superb. Many thanks, Wonder Man T. This name looks new, but many thanks. I appreciate your kind sentiments, Wonder Man. George Orwell, please call him. We want to hear you. Yans, watching from Freetown. Hi, Freetown. How they do? They hope all is well. Watching from Maryland, Fatmata Jallo. Hey, Maryland, how you do? Is it Silver Spring? Where? I've been Maryland a couple of times. It's good to hear that somebody they watch from there. Make sure say you spread the good news there, Sister Fatmata Jallo. Good job, Mr. Chroma. We all need hear this for our beloved Mama Salone. Abbas Koroma, Brother Prince, you and your team in this platform are real and true patriots of country. Listening to you is like listening to Malcolm X. I'm a big fan, huge fan of Malcolm X. Yeah, thank you so much. You fearlessly throw the raw facts out there with no bias. I respect you so highly, brother. Please keep the good work. I am watching from Sydney, Australia. Wow. Sydney, Australia, far, far land away. Many thanks, Brother Abbas Koroma. Please let them know about this in Sydney, and I appreciate your kind sentiment. Mariam Ibrahim, much love to you as well, sister. Mem Muna Barry. Bam. I like that. Ramatullah, the pardon. Sister Ramatullah, you just made my evening. Many thanks for that. Memuna Barry, good afternoon, sir. Prince Chroma. Yes, now the sister this way give me the title, sir. When I was a young boy, probably 5, 6, I was called Sir Prince Henry the Navigator, something like that. I forgot him. Yeah. Well, many thanks for that. Mariam Ibrahim, sad for Salon. Memuna Barry, woefully. George Orwell, Mr. Chroma, the truth. I like Mr. Orwell. Always call my name the right way. Mr. Chroma, the truth is Fatima was and is the finance minister of the Bio administration. She apportioned the national cake according to her feeling. Bam, there we go. Memuna Bari, share. Thank you so much. Very true. Mariam Ibrahim, don't sell, buy, give up. I hate when they refuse to resign when things are not working. Exactly. I don't know why they don't go. The president is a liar. That's too extreme, Usmani Kamara, but that's your opinion. So he doesn't care when they put lies in his speech. George Orwell, Mr. Chroma, to be fair with the bank governor, he and his boss, President Bio, should resign since President Bio told the BBC that he cannot protect the citizens. Exactly. That's the president of the country telling an international media that. Abdullah Kamara, good evening, brother Chroma. Good evening, brother Abdullah Kamara. Bine Suma, sorry to say, but anyone who had faith in Mada in 2018 and voted for him dropped the ball. Why do we think in normal employment background checks are done on a candidate before being offered a job? You are absolutely right. I mean, we make these mistakes and we live with those mistakes for the rest of our lives. But good expression, good observation, good reflection. Bine Suma, I never believed in Mada. Money, monkey, no, they left in Blacan. That's naivety to the highest degree to believe that something good can come from Mada Bio. Binesuma out of Binesuma. Mada is come on, that's too that's too extreme, brother. Abdullah Kamara, it is a provocative statement. It's an insightful statement. It is a concern for all peace Sierra Leonean. Matu Hassan, good evening, sir. Thank you. Yes, Sister Matu, hi. Sue, hi from Osaka. Osaka all the way in Japan. I'm so impressed. TNN, many thanks. Philip Mohamed Kamara, I'm watching from Ivory Coast. Keep the good work, Mr. Kruma. Wow, Mr. Kamara. Bonsoir, messieurs. Ça va, vous allez bien? Many thanks. And bon, at the time for remember me high school French. Well, again, Famulem, we don't come to the end of this beautiful program. Please make sure say you share that it doesn't end here. And 3,000 plus subscriber of you. We want for make sure say before this year end, if we don't reach 5,000 on YouTube, please encourage family and friends for subscribe to the YouTube platform. And I'm sure say you guys are going to do this for us. On the Facebook platform, please continue to like and follow our page. We will not relent. And don't forget, tomorrow, Chernobyl of the Africanist Press will be on the platform. Don't touch that dial. After Chernobyl, will follow on Sunday, Mr. Mohammed Warisi, another speaker of the truth, will be on the platform. Don't forget. And then on Monday, I'll be back on the platform with William of the Stay Red movement. Many questions to ask, many things to get to the bottom of. Don't forget. I love you all. Till we see you again.